David?
Hi, David Moore, Dallas Morning News. Know your focus is on this game and getting through that to get to postseason, but when you come down the final game, you have some players that can get some individual milestones. Do you pay attention to that going into a game on who's close as far as significant?
Yeah, I'm not totally aware of every one of them as I stand here in front of you at this moment, but yeah, I mean, there definitely will be by game time. I think there's definitely some common sense to, a player, going over 1,000 yards, for the first time, and so yeah, I definitely will be engaged in that.
So like I say, you don't tweak your game plan around it, but you're aware of those things going into season.
Yeah, you don't have to. I mean, you don't have to. I mean, it's just like at the end of the day, it's about creating opportunities for players, and obviously individuals that are in that position are usually a big part of the game plan.
Maybe some rain and Sundays. You conscious of that with some of the players and going into the game at all? Get ready for the playoffs. The weather.
Conscious of it?
Well, I'm just saying, will it affect who you play and who you won't play?
Oh, I thought you were talking more from a game management standpoint. No, because that was a topic in our team meeting. I thought maybe you might have snuck in. No, but no, it's that time of year. I think you watch what happened in Green Bay with Minnesota and having proper shoes, and we're playing outdoors. Obviously we're watching the rain. My last I heard this morning, it was not going to probably get there till about 7:30. So hopefully we'll be done by then. But yeah, definitely. I mean, you got to be in tune with the the climate and everything. Where you're going to compete was my focus. But as far as who plays and who doesn't play, the weather is not impacting those decisions.
Like Todd Archer with ESPN, when you're playing a team like Washington who's out of it, do you kind of have to expect anything from them, fourth and whatever they could go for, or trick plays, things like that?
Yeah, definitely. But let's be honest. Ron's always been aggressive with fourth down decisions. I mean, he's probably one of the first ones to go that route. So, defensive coordinator, obviously Jackson, that's his personality, and I think Scott's creative, and they have aggressive special teams. So, yeah, that's all part of the plan, and and at the end of the day, it's only going to help us because any type of stressful situation that's created in Sunday's game, obviously it gives us a chance to compete and win in that particular situation, but also it gives us more experience. So yeah, I hope they do.
Dave Loft, Cowboys radio. With Sam Howell, obviously real limited sample size, and I'm sure you looked at everything, but do you place more emphasis on what he did at North Carolina or the preseason work?
Just really his play style based off what you see in college, but most importantly the preseason, just get a feel of how he plays the position. Does he resemble anybody? How do you forecast, how do you forecast him as far as what concepts that they use? I mean, because remember he's playing the quarterback position, which is tied to the other 10 guys on the field. So just the coordination of all that, the timing, they're not going to put a bunch of new plays in, because it's that the other guys haven't done. So, I mean, we conceptually, we're just really trying to focus on the things that, that they've done and how we think they're going to use him. So, I mean, that's our approach.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. Obviously, with a full week of practice, how's McGovern look at center this week?
Yeah, Connor's had a good week. I think just like anything, and this is another excellent example of it. I mean, when you have injuries in game, that transition is a much more bigger challenge than if you have the full week to prepare and practice through it. So I like the work that Connor's doing so far this week.
Okay.
CD was telling us the other day about T.Y. and how much he's helped him just with tips and stuff like that, and been a big brother. T.Y. and Peters, two veterans who come in, we're here in camp, to come in and do what they do. Can you just talk about that, what that means?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's one thing you learn about very quickly in this league, and I go back to the 90s. I mean, you think you have the complete understanding of a system, how plays are taught, what the techniques are, what footwork we're using, how's it tied to the pass play, how's it engaged to the protection, and that's a volume of information and a level of expertise you have to have. But the real juice is in the cheat system, the system within the system. It's the tips, we call them mannerisms, and we treat mannerisms as a fundamental of professional football. It's part of our Cowboy 6. It's one of our 6 components that we focus on, and those are the things that you've already talked about that older players are so beneficial to younger players, older coaches that have been around that have, because it's just like anything. This league is such a evolution of schemes that come in and go out, but most importantly, the fundamentals have changed some. You got to be in tune with that. The way you block 20 years ago compared to the way you block today, the pass rush emphasis, the expertise and the details of how that's improved. How do you counter that? So all those little things, because mannerisms, when we talk about mannerisms, some people think, oh, well, he's in a vertical stance, it's pass, and he's in a flat stance, it's run. It's much more than that, and those are the types of things that, as a coach, you emphasize with your whole group. But when you have the veteran that's done it, especially the veteran that's done it somewhere else, and now he's trying to apply his knowledge and experience to the current concepts, those little things they're very useful, and it's something that I was very fortunate to be able to sit in a room, in a quarterback room, and listen to Joe Montana and Dave Craig have conversations. And I think Dave was 38, Joe was 37, and I was 29. So so those little things that you learn. That's why I encourage our older players to give back to the young players. I mean, it's a big part of having a young team and the youth coming together. I mean, those things are all very important. So both those guys have been excellent. Veteran players giving back to the young guys.
But I guess with them is
Was that not a long enough answer? My God, you're going to follow up to that?
a great answer.
Huh?
And I was just going to piggyback on that.
Wow, I don't need to pat it on the back.
Because know the game, everybody don't talk the game. Everybody can't,
Yeah.
relay it. And those guys are great at relaying it, I guess.
Yeah, definitely, and I just think, frankly, it's the parallel is parenting. You can sit there and tell your kids to do something all day, but Dak Prescott comes in the house and tells them something. All of a sudden they're jumping up. It's the greatest thing they've ever heard. It's just, go figure. And we've all been there. So let's not act like we haven't. But so, that's real, and it's no different in our position rooms. So.
Skylar Dixon with the AP. Also piggybacking off of that, I know he hadn't been here long, but schematically, X and O's, has his presence kind of helped with bringing up CD or other guys in terms of, double teams and things like that?
I hope so. I hope it continues. But I just think, like anything, it's how the opponent views you is, that's part of the game plan. That's part of the challenge. That's part of the in-game adjustments. So, yeah, I think that's definitely something that, hopefully you'll see more. And I just think the other thing, too, is you just make sure you're creating those opportunities for Noah and Michael and, in the tight end group, too. So, that all plays together.
Mike, you guys have had a successful regular season. What would be the measure of success from here on out for you and for this team?
Oh, well, this week's obviously to get to 13 wins and just put ourselves in position for the, the highest seed. I think it's just like anything. This game's about crossing thresholds, as far as your seasonal goals. You obviously always start off trying to win a division. 11 games is a threshold, and then once you get into the playoffs, how high of a seed can you get? So that's the first step. And then once the door closes on the regular season, everybody reboots, and it's now you're in a tournament. So obviously you want to go into the tournament and win, and ultimately be playing in Arizona. We stated that the first day of training camp. That part hasn't left us, but frankly, I purposely don't talk about it because it's a bunch of wasted emotion. Because at the end of the day, we need to get the 13th win, and then we get the next week, and nothing's guaranteed. You're only guaranteed that first game.
Mike McCarthy, Dallas Morning News. With where the team is physically, can you sense that having that long break following a Thursday game gave any sort of extra wind to your guys this late in the season?
I'm sorry, Mike, I didn't hear the first part. So what'd you say about physically?
Just where they are from a freshness, I suppose, standpoint, that having that Thursday game, the layoff that followed, you sense that gave your team a bit of a wind?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Just in the work Wednesday. The first play of the team period, Zeke took off like a rocket ship, and it was like, okay, that young man took advantage of his time off. So yeah, definitely. I think they all feel much better, and because that's a different run right there. It's good to be back in a 7-day stretch too, on this side of it, because hopefully, we may have to play on Monday night, but hopefully we are in 7-game stretches in the playoffs, because I think that's when we're all at our best. 7 stretch work weeks and 7-day work.
Mike, what has Brian Schottenheimer meant in the role that he's had for you guys this year?
Tremendous. Really Ben McAdoo, he laid the groundwork for it, and then Brian come in here and just really pivoted right off of what Ben had established and really took it to another level as far as his involvement. He's in there he's watching video, nonstop, and he puts together, very extensive, forecasting report. He's working on Tampa, he's working on the, other combinations, and, those will be done today. So, that our coordinators can take a peek at that tonight, and so that conversation starts early. So, there's so much prep work that our young coaches do a phenomenal job. We call it the pit, the quality control guys. So between the combination of the pit, the personnel department, they're doing their part, and then Brian Schottenheimer, it's created, it's made our prep work. It's at a different level than I've ever experienced, and not only that, I think Brian gives such great insight because he's coordinated, he's called plays, and he's worked in different offenses. I know he's really enjoyed the time. He's worked extensively in the offseason with the defense, so more time to spend over there has been great for him personally. But no, he's done a tremendous job for us.
John Michelle, The Athletic. Do you feel like you guys are settled at that other outside corner spot opposite of Trayvon, or do you still need to see more?
Oh, we're going to see more this week. Yeah, that's we're looking at the same way as you're expressing. So we want to just make sure we have as many guys ready, and just because once again, injuries are part of the game. So we just want to make sure that we can hopefully maybe get some guys some work this week that have not, continue to gather information. That's Will and I talked about this morning. Dan and I visited about it again last night. So, those are the conversations we're having internally.
Good?
Good. All right. Thank you.
You're not here, not care.